Right, so welcome back to another video on this channel. Now I am aware that the transfer window has been closed recently, which means that obviously Premier League clubs cannot sign from abroad, but that doesn't change the fact that the transfer window is still open for domestic clubs in England. So of course the Premier League to the EFL and vice versa can still happen in the transfer window. And yet there's a lot of Championship players that are still stuck in the Championship and probably should have moved to Premier League clubs by now, and of course haven't done already, and probably will do in the next few days. Of course the transfer window does close domestically on Friday the 16th of October, which is of course this Friday. So I'm going to go through 7 players that I think will make the move in the next 5 days or so from the Championship to the Premier League in the transfer window. And then let's get straight into this now, starting off with of course the probably main one, Benrahma of Brentford, the Algerian right winger. Now he absolutely lit up the Championship for Brentford last season. He was absolutely incredible and probably one of the top 3 players in the league overall, even though Brentford failed to get promoted. And yeah, he's pretty much destined to be coming to the Premier League in the next few days. I'm actually really shocked that a team hasn't picked him up already. I mean, I know my club Chelsea were linked with him for quite a considerable amount of time during the transfer window. And yeah, it looks like he could be moving to West Ham because according to Sky sources and other outlets as well on social media, that Benrahma is actually in talks to join West Ham, and the clubs are actually in discussions for a fee. So yeah, what a signing that would be for West Ham to have him joining up with the likes of Mikel Antonio, Jared Bowen, and yeah, he would add a lot of flair and excitement to that West Ham attack. And to be fair, the West Ham fans have been pretty vocal over the lack of transfer activity, but I think if they got Benrahma added to the signings of course of Souček and Kufal, it would very much be a massive success in the transfer window for West Ham, replacing someone like Diangana, who of course there was a lot of commotion about whether he should have left or not. But I think if they got Benrahma, things will be okay, because Benrahma is an absolute baller. Next up we have Todd Cantwell of Norwich City. Now apparently he could be moving to Marcelo Bielsa's newly promoted Leeds United side. Now I know Leeds United have of course signed the winger Rafinha from Rennes in the last few days of the transfer, and it was actually on deadline day I think, but Todd Cantwell, if he did join Leeds, would probably play as like a number 10 kind of midfield. And yeah, I thought he was Norwich's probably best player last season, bar maybe Tim Krul, the goalkeeper, who did win their player of the season. But I think that if Cantwell got his move back to the Premier League, which I'm surprised again that it hasn't happened already, I think it'd be a very good signing for any of like the lower end Premier League teams, or even mid-table clubs like Leeds United of course are now as well. And yeah, I think Todd Cantwell would be a very, very good transfer for Leeds United should they pull that off, and I think he'd be really good in the midfield next to Calvin Phillips and Mateusz Klich. And yeah, that's another deal that I expect to get done before Friday's deadline, and a brilliant signing for Leeds that would be, or if another Premier League club comes in for Cantwell as well, it would be a very good signing for them as well. So yeah, let's see what happens regarding that one. The third player I expect to get his move before the deadline on Friday is Watford's winger Ismaila Sarr. Now again, I'm absolutely astonished that no Premier League club or even a club abroad has managed to pick him up yet, because yeah, he wasn't the best for like the entire of last season. Obviously Watford went down in the process, but he showed moments of brilliance, particularly against Liverpool in that 3-0 win to end Liverpool's Invincibles run. And yeah, there's been a few clubs linked with him over the course of the transfer window, and the main two at this moment in time are Manchester United, of course looking to get a winger to replace the target that didn't happen, Jadon Sancho. Yeah, whether that happens now is anyone's guess really, and there was links to it, a loan deal with an obligation to buy for United. But another club that has been linked recently as well is Crystal Palace, who are said to be wanting to break their club record transfer fee in a £30 million deal for Sarr. And yeah, if Crystal Palace could pull off that move, I mean their attack would be absolutely frightening, especially for like a mid-table team like they are. Imagine they had Zaha, Eze, Ismaila Sarr and Michy Batshuayi, and then you also have Jordan Ayew, Jeffrey Schlupp, Andros Townsend. I mean Crystal Palace's attack would be absolutely stacked to the brim with quality. Yeah, that's another one that I expect to get done during the next few days, and even if he doesn't go to Crystal Palace or Manchester United, I do expect Ismaila Sarr to move on from Watford, because let's be honest, he's way too good for that league. I mean, no disrespect to the Championship, but Ismaila Sarr needs to be playing top tier football. Next one up now is one that is probably the most unlikely to happen in this list, and that is David Brooks potentially moving from Bournemouth back to Sheffield United. Of course, he did play for Sheffield United before moving to Bournemouth, and yeah, I'm really surprised like another team hasn't picked up David Brooks yet, because David Brooks is an absolutely quality playmaker in the middle of the park and even on the wing as well. And yeah, there has been links to a lot of Premier League clubs during the course of the transfer window, like Leicester City and even Manchester United have been linked as well, and I think Tottenham were linked for a spell as well. But yeah, at the moment Sheffield United are the only real club showing an interest, and it even doesn't look like this deal is going to go ahead if you look at the news from the last few days. But yeah, unfortunately it looks like David Brooks will not be coming back to the Premier League, which is in my opinion really unfortunate, because he actually is a Premier League level player. And next up we have another Norwich attacking player, and that is Emiliano Buendia, who recorded I think the most assists other than Kevin De Bruyne in the Premier League last season. I mean that could very much be wrong, but I think at some stage he was just behind De Bruyne in assists, and he's probably the most player out of this whole list that I'm absolutely staggered by how another Premier League team hasn't come in for him just yet, because Emiliano Buendia, if you watch Norwich last season, was an absolutely unbelievable playmaker. And not only that, but he's very tenacious as well. He's got a very good work rate on him, and I think that most managers in the Premier League would absolutely love to have a player like Buendia in their team, and I'm really surprised that no one's come in for him just yet. He has been linked to the likes of Arsenal and Leeds United so far, so it just goes to show the calibre of teams that are actually interested in taking Buendia from the Championship off Norwich. And yeah, I think like 25 to 30 million pounds would be a decent signing for pretty much any Premier League team, if I'm honest. Even if he doesn't start for a lot of the top 6 teams, I think for most mid-table clubs at the very least, he'd be an absolutely quality signing. And he's another one I hope that moves to the Premier League in the next few days, because as I said, like for David Brooks, Emiliano Buendia is a player that definitely deserves to be playing in the Premier League week in, week out. And next up we have the Welsh centre-back who currently plays for Swansea, but it doesn't look like for much longer, and that is Joe Rodon, who apparently is closing in on a move to Tottenham under Jose Mourinho. Now I'm not going to lie, I don't know much about Joe Rodon because I haven't really watched Swansea that much last season. I watched him in the playoffs and he seemed decent enough in those games. But it does look like he's going to be moving from Swansea to Tottenham in the next few days. Apparently a fee is already agreed between the two clubs, and I can imagine that Joe Rodon would want to move from Swansea to Tottenham. I mean, no disrespect. Whether or not he walks straight into this Tottenham backline is probably unlikely. I imagine he's like one for the future rather than one for the present. But you never know, he could show his quality in Tottenham's colours, and yeah, I think that that's one that will probably happen in the next few days as well. And the final one we've got in this video has been one that's been pretty much rumoured to happen for months now, if I'm honest, and that is Karlan from Huddersfield Town to West Brom. It's been no secret that West Brom have wanted Karlan for pretty much the whole entirety of the transfer window, and a £16 million deal has been quoted for by a lot of sources. Yeah, to be honest, I expected this one to happen like pretty much like in the last month or so, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened just yet. I think it will go through, but I don't really know what's holding up the deal to be hold up for this long. And yeah, I think that West Brom getting in a striker is absolutely essential for them to stay up, because their complete lack of goals at the moment, I know they scored 3 against Chelsea at the Hawthorns, but their complete lack of natural goal scorers will be found out during the course of the season if they do not get one in the next few days. And I think that Karlan could be that man to get the goals that maybe potentially keep West Brom in the Premier League. And yeah, that's where we're going to end this video. So if you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like down on the video below. That'd be very much appreciated. Also make sure to subscribe to the channel because we're looking to hit 700 subscribers as soon as we possibly can. So if you're new, that'd be very much appreciated. And also leave down in the comment section below any Championship or EFL players in general you want Premier League clubs to snap up in the next few days before the Friday deadline. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.